Welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Minneapolis. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Jacob Van Loon, and it's time. That's right. It's time for the top 8. We've got the quarterfinals lined up for you here. Steve Locke coming in the first seed. This really has been his tournament. He has yet to take a loss throughout the entire Swiss portion, 15 rounds, though he did draw intentionally a couple of times late in the tournament. But still, he never actually lost a match on the weekend yet. His opponent, though, Jake, we were just chatting there, and this could be a tough matchup for him. Nathan Lothamer has black-red control, a deck we haven't seen much of.
It's not blue-red control, as you might say at the top there. It is black-red control. And this deck is so full of removal. This deck will destroy creature decks all day, all night. No mercy. This deck is very good against the deck that's trying to attack it with creatures. And, you know, you're going to be terrified if you play against this deck and you're trying to do something like what Steve Locke's trying to do.
All right, well, the carnage begins. A Grasp of Darkness to take down the Crypt Breaker before it starts to do its thing. That does leave a 2-1 Dread Wanderer left behind for Steve that's going to chip in for a couple of damage. And now we've got twins. But, like you said, Nathan, you know, very well set up here with a ton of spot removal. You know, I think most people, when you think of removal, you think black and red. You know, those are kind of the lightning bolts, the doom blades, you know, that kind of stuff. And that's certainly what we have here.
Now, Steve Locke, for what it's worth, has been playing beautifully.
Wow, look at this. Gifted Etherborn in the main. Carry on. Sorry, not to interrupt you there.
Well, what I'm saying, though, is that Steve Locke has found himself in a lot of very difficult situations in games that seemed unwinnable throughout this weekend where we've been watching him, and he's won those games. So Steve Locke is somebody who can take a terrible matchup and play it in such a way that he finds himself ahead of his opponent. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's, you know, hitting a stride this weekend. He's leveled up, if you will. And, I think he has played the best of anybody we've watched this weekend. So I'm excited that we're getting to see him again here in the quarters.
Nathan, looks like he made the trade there. Gifted Etherborn's going to block. Oh, but there's Kalitas Trader Get. The big boys here, and Steve is going to need another removal spell here if he's going to be able to get by that.
And he needs Grasp of Darkness specifically, I think.
I think you're right. Okay, well, that helps. A Crypt Breaker is a nice addition to the board, even if it's not as good as just killing it. No, he's not attacking. This is him drawing a card.
Yeah, trying to find the Grasp right now. So the problem is, if he passes the turn and that Kalitas remains in play, you have to remember, Nathan's deck is just a pile of removal.
Man, I just picked up the deck list here, Jake. You were really not kidding. Doomfall, Ruinous Path, Cut to Ribbons, Grasp of Darkness, Abrade, Magma Spray, Fatal Push.
It's disgusting.
What in the world? He is just not liking those creatures on the other side. And even his Planeswalkers are removal spells. Here's Chandra. Here to break up the party. Let's see what he does with Chandra. Is he just going to take out the Crypt Breaker? No, he's not. He's going to take out the Lord of the Accursed. He views that as a bigger threat. Though that does mean that if Steve just plays an untapped zombie, he can start drawing cards again.
For what it's worth, though, Steve is kind of forced to attack in here. Maybe not. To get the Chandra off the table, he'd have to just sacrifice the Crypt Breaker.
Oof. That's a steep price to pay.
That is a steep price to pay. And then not only that, but then Nathan also gets an additional zombie. Kalitas?
Yeah, that's... I think Chandra might be surviving this turn. Though, interestingly, I believe that Steve did draw his 5th land, and that would let him use his If Near Dead lands to just kill the zombie token on Nathan's side, clear the way.
And then he could attack the Planeswalker and get through.
Right, and that's a scenario where he gets to keep his board outside of a land and still get Chandra off the battlefield while providing Nathan with no additional zombies. It might be worth it just to do that.
I think that's his best line here.
It's a tough sell, though, right? Like, that's... Oh, but he's also got an interesting play here. He drew a Liliana's Mastery, or at least he had one in his hand. Nope, he's going to go for that line.
Yeah. I mean, it's the only way that he is able to get that Chandra off the table. And if he just plays Liliana's Mastery there, then Nathan's going to get another zombie by trading with the Crypt Breaker. just is not a good trade for him.
Still, you got to feel like Nathan feels like he's in an okay position here. He still has Kalatas on the battlefield. That Chandra still got good value, taking out a creature on the other side. And look, he's even attacking now.
Yeah, and he's going to keep on attacking. I mean, that is a dominant body, and with all the removal spells he has, it's almost impossible for Steve to ever block.
Whoa, look at this.
Whew.
Goblin Dark Dwellers, where have you been all my life? I haven't seen that card in forever.
That's such a sweet card.
Yeah, it is. Look at that. He decided to cast a Grasp of Darkness for free. And this is this is how you beat zombies, right? I mean,
Yeah.
2 for 1, 2 for 1, 1 for 1. The dust settles. He's got Kalatas and a Goblin Dark Dwellers. Like,
Yeah. And all of these, like, haphazard removal spells are becoming 2 for 1s now because of Kalatas. Goblin Dark Dwellers, legitimate 3 for 1 there, giving him a 2/2 body, that 4/4 menace, and killing the Crypt Breaker on the other side of the table.
forget about it. Yeah, this is just a runaway here for Nathan Lothamer. Now, a Kalatas for Steve Locke could help. Maybe stem the bleeding. No, it's Glorybringer for Nathan Lothamer.
Whoa.
So that Kalatas is not long for this world. Exert,
Yeah.
rain down fire from above. And this has been an absolute slaughter here.
Yeah, this is not the kind of matchup Steve was looking for.
Steve says, yeah, have seen enough of this. And you can see Nathan says, just like we drew it up, kids. Nice one. Wow. That removal was fantastic.
Hey, format without many non-creature based decks.
Because, you know, when you look at it, you know, Steve's draw wasn't that bad.
It's a
Right?
legitimately good draw.
Yeah. He had Kalatas. He got to use the thing. He had the Crypt Breaker going for a turn. Like, it was not that bad. But, oh boy, it didn't matter, did it? He just got torn apart. Okay, let's take a look at Corey Baumeister. He's playing against Robert Castro. And this is the two most represented decks here in our top 8. There's 3 Black-Green Constrictor and 2 Mardu vehicles.
Correct.
And there's one of them each here.
Now, an interesting thing going on in this top 8, Corey Baumeister and Brad Nelson both in the top 8. These are brothers.
Yeah, how cool is that?
And if they both win their semifinal or their quarterfinal and semifinal match, we will have an all brothers final.
I'm not going to lie. I would love it's a mirror match of mirror matches, too.
Yeah, and I mean I feel like there's some poetry there. Like
I
I
love
would
it.
love to
I'm
see
loving
that.
it.
Love to see that.
We'll keep an eye on that little storyline as we work our way through. Maybe it'll happen. In the meantime, Corey is making a bid to win this game number 1 as he's putting Verdurous Gearhulk on the stack here. And it looks like it's resolved. So the question is, where are these counters going? Says, I'd like to do it like this. Do you have anything to say? Robert says, fair enough. And that means that he's taken a big hit here. It's like 7 damage.
Yeah. Plus he gets that extra 5/5 trampling body on the side. The Eldrazi Scion from the Catacomb Sifter helping him cast that Verdurous Gearhulk here. Catacomb Sifter has been pretty amazing all weekend.
Yeah, I think a lot of people noticed how good that was. A couple people were playing it at the Pro Tour, and when they played against it, against the red deck, it was like, oh boy.
Yeah, this is really good.
You know, reminds you of kind of like PNLR or something like that, right? It's a very good blocker in the middle part of the game for these type of decks.
And it does even more, too. The ability to, crew something, then sacrifice and cast a big spell. Just a lot of power in that one card.
And right as we say that, Jake, Robert's going to use a unlicensed disintegration to kill that Catacomb Sifter. Now, that was a particularly special Catacomb Sifter as it had a bunch of plus one counters on it. But still.
It was a 4/5. It's also providing him a lot of scrying action. There's a really good card.
You know, it's
Unlicensed
funny,
Disintegration.
right? Like we just keep coming across card after card after card. This format has so many options with so many sets in it right now. It's like
So
Goblin
many
Dark Dwellers, Spell
super
Queller.
powerful
Yeah.
cards in this format. It's insane.
Yeah, Unlicensed Disintegration certainly on that list as well. Looks like Robert's just going to keep chipping in with the Ether Sphere Harvester. He's still got 3 energy and make that 2 now. So he can make it more difficult for Corey to race.
And is he out of removal spells now? Seems like he might be a bit flooded, to be honest.
Robert?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Corey, on the other hand, missing some land drops on his side of the table. But Corey will likely keep attacking. So pre-combat tapping 3 mana. Imagine this will either be a Nissa or a Pima Renegade.
Corey's sinking.
The top 8. Now's not the time to take a misstep.
That's right. Well, he's kind of wound that one back. Gonna survey the scene once again here. Really make sure that he knows exactly what his plan is and why he's doing the things that he's doing. Corey is a Grand Prix champion.
Yeah.
He won not that long ago, just a few months ago.
Yeah. Grand Prix, New Jersey. I believe it was either February or March.
Mm-hmm. It's Nissa. He's going to immediately minus Nissa. And he wants to rumble.
I like it. That's exactly where you want to be right here.
10 damage.
That card is so powerful also. Geez, this standard format is huge.
Yeah.
I feel like standard right now is more powerful than, like modern a few years ago even. It's crazy how many good cards there are you can play with.
It really is.
We've seen multiple Nissa Voices Zendikar Ultimates this weekend.
I saw one.
I saw one
Didn't
yesterday
win the game.
and one today. And Maria and Melissa also saw one.
Goodness sakes.
Yeah. The other 2 I saw won the game. The one we watched earlier did not.
Yeah, Seth Manfield managed to ultimate Nissa, but that did not work out for him.
I believe it actually was against Steve Locke.
Yeah.
That's right. Steve Locke has been playing so well that he's been beating Nissa Voice of Zendikar Ultimates this weekend.
You know, he couldn't beat 6 pieces of removal.
No,
in game
especially
one,
when half of them made zombies and some of them were either had 4/4s attached,
Yeah.
either in the form of flying haste creatures or 4/4 menaces. Decision time.
I think it's been decision time for a little while. These guys are not playing very quickly. Like you said, though, it makes sense. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the top 8.
This is the time to be careful, but
I don't even know if Rob has any action in his hand, though, right now. For what it's worth.
yeah, he must just be trying to decide if he needs to leave back that harvester.
And so he takes a look at that hissing quagmire, thinks to himself, well, if Corey draws another land, that hissing quagmire becomes a 4-power creature. And that Sylvan Advocate becomes a 6-power creature. And this Verger's Gearhulk is already a 6-power creature. And I'm at 13. So if I leave all my shields down...
I've had enough. Let's go back to our main match.
Yes,
it
please.
looks like
Let's
it's
do
about to start. we only saw 2 turns that whole time we were watching.
Yeah.
They need to pick up the pace over there a little, I
It
think.
was even 1.5 turns.
It really was, yeah.
Brutal.
Steve Locke versus Nathan Lothamer, though. They're already well into game 2 here as they've shuffled, presented, resolved mulligans, and even played turn 1. Dread Wanderer for Steve is going to get in for 2 this turn. But Nathan with the tap land doesn't have much to say yet.
And, this doesn't look much different than Steve's curve out in the first game.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
3 1-drops on by the third turn of the game. Looks pretty good.
And that's exactly where you want to be.
Grasp of Darkness, though, the first of what is probably going to be many removal spells from Nathan Lothamer. He takes down the Crypt Breaker there, reducing Steve Locke's board to simply power and toughness, though it is 4 power, and he is attacking for 4, so not bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of damage for this stage of the game when your opponent's already played a removal spell.
Nathan is trying to be the first person to actually put a loss on Steve Locke's record this entire weekend. And if he does, he'll send him packing. He'll say, great run. Maybe next time.
Nice first seed. Friend.
That was an Abrade. He's going to take out Relentless Dead right now. No mana available.
Flying to 10 here, though. The zombie stack doing a good job of just running Nathan over. Steve being on the play, correctly assessing that he might be able to kill Nathan before he really gets a foot into the door.
There's a Kalatas, but immediately answered by Grasp of Darkness from Steve Locke. And you know what? These hits are really starting to add up. Nathan's down to 6 already.
Yeah.
He just can't seem to get stable, even though Steve is missing lands.
So Steve's still on 2 lands here.
Yeah, Nathan really needs either something big or maybe even just another Kalatas could get the job done. But he hasn't been able to
Gifted
untap.
Etherborn would be pretty good.
Yeah, there you go. Gifted Etherborn, maybe plus a removal spell, something like that. He's got something for 3 mana. It's a Doomfall. Target you, and I think he's just going to have him sacrifice a creature here. What do you think?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's no way those Dread Wanderers are coming back
By the way,
anytime soon.
yeah, I also have a correction. It's not sacrifice. It's they choose it and exile it, which is, of course, relevant for the Dread Wanderer.
Absolutely.
But also just super relevant because Nathan's at 6 going to 4 and wants to try to keep the board as clear as possible.
So is Nathan out of... Nope.
You spoke just a little too soon. He
And
is
now
certainly not.
He's at this 5 mana mark, which means he's about to bring Glory.
This is a huge
cast
turn right
Glory
here.
Bringers.
This is a very big turn because Nathan has now fully stabilized this board if he can keep... Oh, he gets to stay this way. Look at this. No attacks here from Steve Locke, so Nathan clinging to life.
And the zombie deck does not have reach, like a lot of the other decks we've seen. That's a Gifted Etherborn right there. Oh, interesting. What is here? Is this a... Oh, it's a Ruinous Path.
All right,
seen
that's
those
still
in a
standard.
while.
Cool.
I forgot about that
Add it
one.
to the list of cards we forgot about. Transgress the Mind is going to... take away a Kalatas, though. That was supposed to be Nathan's big clean up the board, though. The Gifted Etherborn could help as well. In.
Yeah, Gifted Etherborn doing a pretty good Kalatas impression right now.
Yeah, little baby Kalatas there. Wow, this is a huge turning point in this match. A land off the top, though, means that Steve can play Liliana's Mastery.
Just pretty good here.
Yeah, that's going to just sort of even things right up, isn't it?
Yeah, now.
Now Nathan can't attack anymore.
And Nathan's in a really scary spot here. I mean, Steve has gone wide enough where, yeah, that's going to be it. We're on to a third game.
Was that it?
Yeah. I think that Steve had created enough bodies, and they all had 3 power. And, you know,
His Gifted Etherborn has lifelink. What did I miss there?
yeah,
He goes, block. Yes, I take lethal, but I also gain 2. And the way lifelink works, you get the life before you're dead.
that's true.
He would be
would've
at
been
2, and Steve would be down 2 creatures.
I'm surprised, because then at that point he could, you know, draw something like another Goblin Dark Dwellers or Glorybringer and find himself right back into the game.
Maybe the If Near Dead lands that Steve had was the dividing, because if he puts that on the
makes sense.
Etherborn,
That
then he
makes
does
sense.
have lethal.
That makes sense.
But-
Hey,
but
force your
don't you
opponent
make
to
him
do it.
do it?
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, we
If I'm
can't hear
playing
them. Maybe
with a
Steve's
friend,
just down
I
there
might
like
point it out, but
maybe
I'm on the top 8 of a GP. Come on.
yeah, or maybe Steve's just singing the If Near Deadland song. He's just like if near, you know,
That's
and his
true,
opponent's
that's
like,
true.
okay, fine, I get it, you got it, and he scoop, but I still make him do it.
He can sing all the due day long, and I'd still make him.
I mean, remember, you know, think about how much removal he has in his deck, right? Like, so Steve goes, okay, shrink down your Etherborn, and then you go, sure, and just stare at him. Like, if you have a Magma Spray, that attack doesn't look nearly as good, right? He loses a guy, he chump blocks, and doesn't take anything.
So,
Was that Corey
I
winning?
think, got the first game.
We'll find
Again,
out.
a bit
We'll
of a
find out for
confusing
sure.
one. Grasp of Darkness being targeted by, or Aethersphere Harvester being targeted by Grasp of Darkness. Yes, Aethersphere Harvester only has 3 power and 5 toughness, so Grass doesn't kill it. But Corey had him dead the next turn, so by making the Aethersphere Harvester have less than, 1 power, it doesn't gain Robert any life, and then Corey has lethal on board.
Yeah, so Corey wins that one, by the way. Brad Nelson.
He won his match already?
No, he won his first game, though.
Oh.
So both Nelson and Baumeister, the brothers, up a game in their matches.
A brothers' war.
One step closer. So we'll keep an eye on that. If they both win their quarter and semifinal, then they'll be in the finals against each other.
That'd be very exciting. I'm interested. Rich is probably going to find out for us, but I'm interested to find out if this is going to be the first ever brothers finals at a GP.
Yeah, where's BDM? You know?
Yeah, the one time he's not here.
He's the one I want to ask.
I have a couple brothers. I don't think any of them are top 8 GPs anytime soon, though, so
But
dream is dead.
how cool would it be?
It would be so cool.
Wouldn't it be
Yeah, thinking
sweet?
about it would be the best.
Although,
Yeah.
here's a bad thought. What if you lost to your brother in the finals of a GP? Like, what's the over-under a number of years until he let you forget it? Like, every family dinner, every time you play basketball and you win, he's like, yeah, but I beat you in the GP.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
Every
My little
time
brother
you're
beat
like,
me in the Pinewood Derby when he was like
what's
7
that?
and I was 10.
What's
that,
a
like,
Pinewood Derby?
It's like that Boy Scouts thing where you make the little cars out of wood and you race them down the track.
Oh, yeah, down the hill.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And like when he was like 7 and I was 10, he won, and he like won for like the whole town. And
Oh, man.
he still talks about it. He actually doesn't talk about it. I bring it up to him. Like, you.
How dare you? Yeah. It is a fun thing though, right? Because I mean, how cool would it be to get to play against your brother or your family member in the finals? But at the same time, you know, those bragging rights don't die hard, so
Oh, and I'm sure that for the two of them, I mean, they are so used to playing in GP top 8s, both of them. Brad, obviously, much more so. But, you know, Corey and Brad, this is old hat for them. I know it's so exciting to top 8 at Grand Prix. It's like such a, big life achievement. But for the two of them, this is just something that happens all the time. This is like going out for ice cream.
I would do that right now.
I would too. After the quarterfinals, me and you, ice cream.
All right, looks like players are just about ready here looking at those opening hands.
I think it's pretty
Nathan gonna
impressive that
keep?
Steve was able to get a game in this matchup. This is a really bad matchup.
How
I think
impressed would you
Preacher-
be if you got 2 games?
Super impressed, and I don't think it's that unlikely.
In other words, the maximum number of games. We are ready for game number 3 of our quarters here. This is a tough matchup for Steve Locke, who has yet to lose. But he got a win against Nathan last time on the play. This time he's on the draw. Can he get it done? Or did he finally run into the removal buzzsaw that Nathan Lothamer brought here? Let's find out. Looks like it's a Transgress the Mind. And
No third land here for Nathan.
he also just said sure and didn't even bother using that abrade.
Yeah, so it looks like a braid. Are those magma sprays? I can't imagine you don't Magma Spray
Well,
Hunter right away.
yeah, he took 2 off of it. I guess now you just can wait.
Yeah, I guess it's not a big deal. Yeah, but Nathan needs a third land pretty bad. He may also just be, especially because Steve didn't add to his board, Nathan kind of has the luxury of seeing if he draws the land and if he can just use a Liliana +1 to deal with that Dread Wanderer for now.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would be absolutely ideal, because then he'd be able to start passing the turn with the pair of Magma Sprays and the Abrade in his hand. And
Is that Yeheni's expertise over there on the right?
it looks like it to me.
Yeah, I don't recognize the promo offhand. I just haven't seen that one, but I'm consulting with my experts in chat.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. It is. I just got confirmation.
There we go. So clearly one of the most powerful spells. But he's going to let him keep it for now, looking at his hand and saying, hey, you're not hitting land drops for a while. Now we're going to see Magma Spray fired off here.
Yeah, and Steve also kind of recognizing the line that Nathan was going for and trying to disrupt that. Nathan, his whole plan was, all right, I don't need to use this Magma Spray now because I'm going to use this Liliana if I draw the land. But Nathan failing to find a third land here. All he's got is a handful of removal spells. One of the nice things about Nathan's deck, though, is that he can kind of, just flounder around a little bit in the early game, and he has enough removal that it kind of forces somebody else, like if he's playing against a deck like Steve's. Steve's got to wait until he gets, some Lord effects, some things like, either Lord of the Accursed or Liliana's Mastery in play, so that his Magma Sprays just become worse.
Man, Steve just does nothing? How would he have 5 lands and just nothing? He drew another Transgress the Mind here, Jake.
That's decent.
He just doesn't want to run his Diregraph Colossus into a Magma Spray, huh?
Yeah, it just seems like pretty bad for him to spend 3 mana.
Yeah, it does. It seems bad, especially because you can wait until you find another zombie and just cast it. And then if they Magma Spray it, you're like, sure, I still get my zombie.
The thing is, Steve knows that if he's able to, hold out until he finds Liliana's Mastery for a little while, then that significantly reduces the power level of Nathan's hand here.
Oh, interesting, though. Nathan had a Doomfall there. Just decided not to cast it. He wants to bide his time.
Yeah, so not taking a look at Steve's hand there.
So what can he take now? The Expertise, the Doomfall, or Goblin Dark Dwellers. Those are his options. Doomfall goes back in hand. Maybe he wants to take it away. Another If Near Deadlands here for Steve.
So we took the Expertise.
That's right. Land off the top for Nathan, though, moves him ever closer here. Land off the top for Steve's not quite what he wanted to see. His hand looks a little awkward here. This has been a weird
Steve's
game.
Hand?
Yeah.
It's awkward? Yeah.
Yeah, Steve's hand looks a little awkward. He has 2 removal spells in hand with no targets. He's got a Grasp and a Never to Return. Well,
and the two of
Relentless
them
Dead, is that good?
I think Relentless Dead is quite good here. But he knows Nathan has Magma Spray.
So it's not so good.
Yeah. He could, however, use his own removal spell on it in response. Depending on, how much he values those in hand.
It's just a weird spot for Steve Locke.
Yeah, and this could be a very long game.
He's going to go for the Diagraph Colossus now.
And is that just a 2/2?
Yep. There's only 2 transgresses in the graveyard. Dread Wanderer was exiled. So like I said, though, he may lose the Diagraph here, but by waiting until he drew a second zombie, he gets the free 2/2 zombie token. Now, these aren't going to last.
Yeah,
But that is the right play from Steve, I'm convinced, rather than just throwing your Diagraph Colossus to a Magma Spray.
Interesting situation here.
Right, so Magma Spray is going to hit Relentless Dead, but wait, there's more. With
For
all this
Nathan.
removal for Nathan, he just can kind of have his way with this board.
Yeah, he already had that Abrade also. We know this hand is just a pile of removal here.
Yeah,
so.
Fatal Push and a Braid. Oh boy, he's going to let him have that Diagraph Colossus for a turn. Land off the top.
The land's pretty good for him.
Might be tapped.
That's fine, though. We'll get it next turn.
He's going to play Doomfall now. Is he going to have him exile the Colossus, or is he going to try to hit his hand? I would assume he'd hit his... No, I'm assuming wrong. He's just going to have him exile the Colossus.
Interesting. I would have also gone for the hand there.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, though, I've not piloted a black-red control deck to the top 8 of a Grand Prix.
I mean, he does have to kill the Colossus. Like, he can't let him untap with it. But if Nathan's paying close attention, he'll probably realize that Steve didn't have many zombies in hand, as he did nothing for a few turns and then was like, Colossus zombie. It's like, well, wait, you had to have one or the other, right, before, and then you drew the other one, so he'll probably have pieced that together.
Goblin Dwarf Drillers gets a lot better with cards like Doomfall in the deck, too.
Oh, yeah, good point. I bet you that was part of the reason to put Doomfall in. Also, just the exile on Doomfall is quite relevant, right? I mean, we see the, just out of the zombie stack, a lot of cards coming back. You know, like 2 of them that are in the exile pile right now, for example.
Yeah. Nathan's been doing a good job of matching up his removal nicely.
Yeah, and, you know, cards like Diagraph Colossus do count the number of zombies in your yard, and it takes that synergy away as well. So, impressive stuff.
The cards he's casting now are, generally the same. Zombies hit kind of snowballs in power level as the game progresses.
He's going to do the
And that's
same
been
turn
taken
as
away.
before. Oh, no, I guess he's not. He's just going to pass. He does have a Relentless Dead in his hand, though.
Yeah.
He just chose not to cast it here.
Chose against it.
Yeah, for some reason. There's Grasp of Darkness.
Yeah, just killing everything.
Well, now he's not going to get a free zombie off of his Diagraph Colossus, though. And Nathan just looks at him and says, go ahead. I can do this all day.
I will sit here
I
and
got
do this
removal
over and over again.
for days. Let's see what Steve was setting up here. Ooh. Found himself a Crypt Breaker. Can he overwhelm Nathan's removal spells?
Yeah, maybe he'll try to string something together, but he's just got to overcome so much here. And one of the things is Nathan missed a lot of land drops early on, which meant that his hand was just getting more and more full of gas. So we already know that Nathan has a copy of Goblin Dark Dwellers in his hand, which already represents a 2-for-1. Steve cannot love his spot here.
Well, Steve's just going to run out the Relentless Dead now. He didn't want to last turn.
Which is odd. Last turn he would have gotten that bonus zombie off the Diagraph Colossus. I don't know if I love this.
Gifted Aetherborn was the draw there for Nathan. Shakes his head a little bit, but he's got options. He's just going to run out the Gifted Aetherborn. It looks pretty good right here. And then the big, I like that, pass a turn, just open hand. Oh, Grasp of Darkness, though. Likely going to just finish off or just straight up kill this Gifted Aetherborn.
I'm not sure what there really is that would save it here. All right, so Steve is going to begin applying pressure here. The first damage we had since the very early turns of the game.
Yeah, Nathan dropping from 18 to 16, even though we're well into this game.
and you'd expect the black-red deck to have a much better long game here. But it's interesting because the black deck, alongside like when it's playing cards like Crypt Breaker and whatnot, he really has access to more card draw than Nathan does. Nathan's card advantage that he's often picking up is in the form of 2-for-1 threats.
Yeah, you see that a lot.
So, another land here for Steve. It's a lot of lands.
Yeah. I mean, he's happy to be able to be pressuring it all. That's the scavenger grounds that Steve has. You can exile graveyards with that.
That's pretty good against Nathan's Goblin Dark Dwellers, too.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve knows that he has Goblin Dark Dwellers in hand.
Actual in hand, yeah.
So, we're likely trying to set that one up. So some news from back table. Ray Huang on Mardu vehicles wins 2-0. Here it is, Goblin Dark Dwellers. Here we see the power of these deserts.
Yeah, he's going to use his scavenger grounds here. He's actually going to get rid of an Ifnir Deadlands, but that is to the scavenger ground.
And I like that. I mean, he already has Ifnir Deadlands in hand. He could always sacrifice scavenger ground to the other Ifnir Deadlands if he needs that type of effect.
Mm-hmm.
Scavenger Grounds has been great this weekend also. Been pretty impressed with that card when we've watched. You know, a lot of incidental hate against things like Sultai Reanimator. A lot of ways to just prevent haphazard shenanigans from the opponent. Remember, Sultai Reanimator, essentially blue-black splashing for Traverse the Elven Wald and Ishkana Graph Widow, has been far and away one of the most successful decks this weekend in terms of how many people played it and how many matches they won.
So the dust is settled on this board, finally. And it's 4-4 versus 2-2.
Yeah, Steve seems to have quite a bit more going on in his hand. Then again, the 4-4 body on the other side of the table is pretty good against him.
Nathan Ticket?
Huh.
Guess
That's
he just
interesting.
didn't. I guess he just didn't want to trade off for the Ifnir Deadlands there.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, the Relentless Dead would come back. He'd...
Right, but I mean, got to do something.
It's true.
At any rate, Never is going to take down the Goblin Dark Dwellers here.
Return
And
also
probably, yeah, that's what I was
pretty
gonna say.
good.
Yeah, just get another 2-2 zombie.
Oh, yes, yeah, the Menace on Relentless Dead. We forgot about that.
God, I always forget that, Jake.
Yeah, that one gets me a lot, too.
I always forget that. Wait for chat. Oh, there it is. There it is. We got some experts here. God, you know, you think I'd remember it's the first thing on there?
Yeah.
My bad.
So we've been watching zombies for a little while.
It's my bad. It's my bad.
Yeah, same. But and Nathan found himself, I believe he's got a Kenyan Slough there, so he can cycle a bit. And there's a Gonti, Lord of Luxury. About the most luxurious card in Standard right now. It's a card that was originally popularized by somebody who's in our Grand Prix Top 8 this weekend. Brad Nelson played that at the Pro Tour. Not this most recent Pro Tour, but a few Pro Tours ago. I don't even remember which one exactly. Wow.
Jeez, nice turn, Nathan. Gonti and Liliana?
It's not even his Liliana.
Wow. What a beating. That is so savage. Because, I don't know if you knew this, Jake, but the Gonti actually couldn't block.
Because of Menace.
Menace, right.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I did know that
Yeah.
because
Of Menace.
we just talked about it.
Right, and Menace. So. Why does R&D keep making Menace? Like, if I'm not going to recognize it, can we just get rid of it?
Yeah, I have the same question. It's funny how I always remember it on Glint Sleeve Siphoner, too. You know, it's... Which is, you know, from a flavor perspective, a lot less menacing than Relentless Dead. Goblin
Man.
Dark Dweller's also a menace creature.
So
Lots
how
of menace
good of a
this
spot
weekend.
is Nathan in here, Jake? Because it looks pretty good from here, right? No discernible threat from the other side. He's got a blocker. He's got an active planeswalker. Like,
And I think the general,
driver's seat?
the card power level in his deck is just quite a bit higher. Ooh.
Hello. Maybe I asked a little, like, half a second too soon.
Yeah, so
I
I'm
need
gonna
you to
say
pause and then reevaluate now that there's 4 zombies and no more Gonti on the other side. Wow, Dark Salvation. What a blowout for Steve Locke.
suddenly 10 points of power there for Steve Locke. Important to remember, though, Nathan does have access to Henny's expertise in post-boarded games. So that's always something we can look out for.
Well, he's digging for one right now, I'll tell you that. Can Steve Locke beat the all-removal deck? Did he find a Goblin Dark Dwellers?
That would be decent.
He did. And he's got an Abrade to take down the Relentless Dead while the shields are down. Oh, he's going to minus Liliana here as well. And that's going to get him back Gonti again. So he's on that grind.
Wow.
But this is going to be a close one.
Yeah, this is going to be a really close one.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool here, though, because, you know, yes, Steve has that aggression. Steve has the board advantage. He has the life advantage. But you know, that board advantage is dwindling very quickly.
It certainly is.
Steve's going to need to attack in with multiple creatures just to get the Liliana off the table. And then we know that Nathan can just gobble one of them up with the Goblin Dark Dwellers. Liliana, the last hope.
Massive Modern, 1 p.m.
Have you gotten to play with that card in Modern yet? Or in Cube
No.
or anything?
Yes.
It's really good in Cube.
Love it in Cube.
Yeah.
I know some people don't. I'm not one of them. I'm a fan.
I'm also a fan. 3-mana Planeswalkers. It's a big game.
Yeah, it's really all about the ultimate, because if you're playing against an aggressive deck like we see here, then it can just go to town. But also against a control deck, you know, if you're playing blue-red or something and it resolves, they do have to deal with it at some point. You know, it's not that it's that hard to do, but they can't just let it sit there. I love cards like that. Now Steve has to decide how he wants to manage this board. He'd probably like to get Liliana off the board for starters, but he may have to lose a zombie in the process. Cryptbreaker was the draw, though. That's interesting, too. Play Cryptbreaker. Maybe just attack with 2 zombies now.
Yeah, I mean, you do give yourself an opportunity to kind of get into a rough situation if you do that, because Nathan could have...
Ooh, Liliana's Mastery off the top there.
Whoa.
Oh, boy.
Never mind.
Oh, that was a big draw for Steve Locke. That's how he can get through all this removal. He's going to toss a zombie into the bin here to get rid of Liliana. And then I think his plan before was to use If Near Deadlands to finish off the Goblin Dark Dwellers, but he may have upgraded that plan with that Liliana's Mastery here.
Yeah, Dark Salvation into Liliana's Mastery.
It's an interesting decision on
pretty nice
which one he
swing.
does right now, though, because if he does go for Mastery, that Goblin Dark Dwellers is still a problem, right? I mean, it's
Absolutely.
a big blocker. He may just want to get rid of it. Yeah, I think he's going to wait a turn. He is. He's going to wait a turn. I kind of like that from Steve.
Yeah, I think
It's
there's good
tempting to
patience
just
there.
be like, Mastery, taste it. but no. He's going to go ahead and just get rid of the Goblin Dark Dwellers.
The other thing is that he's already presenting close to lethal here, and with the Mastery in hand, he is presenting lethal,
It's overrun.
right? So,
By the way, Corey Baumeister won his match 2-0, so he has advanced. We have not heard if Brad Nelson has yet. That was Ruinous Path from Nathan, giving him a 4/4 and killing the Crypt Breaker. And once again, Nathan has managed to stay alive here. Even with the Liliana's Mastery, he's not dead this turn, though things are not looking great for him.
Ruinous Path.
Mm-hmm.
Making another 4/4.
Let's see if Steve can work his way through here. Well, looks like he just wants to use another If Near Deadlands.
I can respect that.
Sure. Get in for 4, knock you to 8, finish off your mountain. Man, Steve has been using these If Near Deadlands to great effect. He's got Transgress the Mind to take away what looks like a Doomfall, and I think we're about to see Nathan lose in just a turn or two unless he finds something pretty spectacular.
Wow.
Oh, how about Glorybringer off the top?
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, that's pretty spectacular.
It is, but there's Liliana's Mastery, and I
yeah.
think Steve might have drawn a second copy of it, too.
Wow.
I don't even know. I don't think he'll need it here, though, to be honest.
I don't think so either.
He does have another one, though. This has been a great match, but that's going to do it. Steve Locke remains undefeated on the weekend, defeating the all-removal deck of Nathan Lothamer and advancing to the semis. We mentioned Corey Baumeister. He advanced as well. Brad Nelson
Did not.
didn't make it.
Yeah.
Nope, Johnson beat him 2-1, so we're not going to get the brother matchup, but still, we've got a lot of fun stuff to track here, and hopefully interesting matches like that one. That was fascinating. Managing the resources, that game was super cool. Remember back to earlier in the game when Steve was like sandbagging threats, he had a handful of removal, Nathan was missing land drops.
Yeah, then Nathan Gontied into Liliana.
Yeah. That was a sweet one. All right, that is going to do it, though, for our quarterfinal coverage here from Minneapolis. We'll be back with more after these messages.